Hello, and welcome to SciShow Doc Show. That day on SciShow, where we talk to interesting people about interesting stuff. Today, we're talking to Jen Fowler, the Assistant Director of the Montana Space Grant Consortium. I had to read her shirt. I felt like that was the safe way to do it. I don't know what the Montana Space Grant Consortium is, but I know that I want your t-shirt, because I like NASA and I like Montana.
Here's how people get t-shirts.
Oh, there's a way?
There is a way.
Okay.
There's a couple ways. Typically, it's students in higher education. Each state has a Space Grant Consortium. We're under NASA Education. And we have 23 institutions in Montana. Students apply for a scholarship, an internship, a fellowship, a research stipend, and they definitely get the t-shirt once we bring them into a program.
So I have to be a student?
That would be your most direct way.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm shutting down SciShow. I'm going back to school.
Going back to school.
I do sometimes have that itch. Like, I miss research. I miss learning in a structured environment. I miss like the depth of, academic research. But I think I'm probably going to stick with what I'm doing. So how else can I get a t-shirt?
You can come on a balloon launch with us.
I mean, that sounds like way easier and also fun.
Well, I think all of it's fun. I mean, that's the beauty. But it is, we put you to work. You get to...
Yeah, but I don't have to quit my job.
No, we won't make you quit your job.
Okay.
You might, well...
So part of the space grant is balloon research.
It is balloon research. So each...
And that just sounds, to me, space and balloons, the immediate link might not be there for everybody.
It's a good link too, and I think that's a reasonable response. People wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, I know
think of
balloons. It's like for parties, and it's animals.
So we launch a couple different sizes of balloons depending on how heavy the payload is. Just like rockets. Rockets still go pretty fast. Balloons a little bit slower. They take their time. We can study the atmosphere, but they also get to a place where we generally don't fly aircraft. And they get to a place that's a little bit lower than a rocket where we can sit for a while. So we're at 30 kilometers where our balloons are.
Okay. Do you know how high FELIX BAUMGARTNER was when he jumped out of a balloon?
It's going to be a guess. I did look at that, and I thought it was somewhere around 70,000.
70,000 feet?
Yeah.
Well, I can't convert that to kilometers.
So I'm doing lots of conversions on here. I'm playing fast and loose with units. See if you're keeping up with me. So 30 kilometers, about 90,000 feet.
Okay. So you're higher up than that guy was.
We can, yes.
Yeah.
The highest that we've flown actually out of Space Grant is about 114,000 feet.
And that's defined basically by the atmosphere. Like eventually there's not enough atmosphere left for the balloon to be lighter than, and the atmosphere becomes the same density as the balloon. So what's some of the research that's being done on your balloons right now? You're working with students. Are they proposing research ideas?
Yes, and it's all pretty Eclipse focused right now. So we have a number.
So that's why
we have both
is
systems.
Happening.
Yes. We have
I can't see anything.
You can't. You have to stare at the sun with those. Really.
Right. There's pretty much the only thing you can see through these is the sun.
Yes.
Or something that's reflecting the sun.
Yes.
Because I did take them out in the parking lot and I was like, well, I can see that car.
That indicates maybe don't stare at that spot on the car.
Yeah, I think that my brain also told me not to do that. I put these on and went and looked at the sun, and I felt a number of emotions I didn't expect. I felt like there is a giant ball of plasma in the middle of our solar system, and it is shining death upon us, and also life. But also, it's tiny. Like the sun sort of takes up a big piece of my mind sky. Because I don't look at it, and it's obviously the most important thing in the sky. And I don't know, I guess mostly when I look at the sun, it's setting, and so it looks bigger because it's on the horizon. But I look up and it's just this little perfectly round little thing. And you don't really ever see the sun as being perfectly round either, because it's fuzzy on the edges and the atmosphere is doing stuff. But the part that you can see with this is just this perfect little circle.
It's very far away, is the one thing.
Right.
I mentioned.
No, I'm aware. I'm aware that the sun is actually big.
So that makes it seem a little small.
Yeah, 93 million miles is a while.
I think that's a great point, actually, because we are so focused for a couple years now on the development of what we're going to measure and how we're going to do it. And,
During this
live
eclipse?
Video, yes.
So you've been thinking about this eclipse for years.
We have. I was thinking, I haven't really looked at the sun recently.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking down at the computer with all the data or at the balloon. It's nice to remind yourself that basic natural
reality.
Reality is happening all the time.
Sometimes I feel that way when it's nighttime and looking up at the sky, but for some reason the sun does not generally have that same effect on me because it's sort of like normal everyday part of life.
Well, I kind of wonder is because we don't look at it.
And also you can't look at it. You really can't, unless it's like sunset time.
True.
Like it's not like don't do that, it's dangerous. It's like you look at it and your mind is like stop, that hurts.
Yeah.
Like you are damaging yourself. So
Can you imagine when it gets covered? I haven't seen a total solar eclipse.
I don't think I have either.
Just that it's the most amazing experience to have.
Well, the path of totality is pretty thin, right?
It's about 100 kilometers wide.
So
we can get into it.
A person can.
Yeah.
How far south is it of us? How far would I have to drive?
The closest extent, there's a very tiny piece that goes through the most southwest-ish corner, or the lowest part of Montana.
Okay.
So Idaho's probably the closest part from here. And then we've got a team that's going to be in Wyoming doing atmospheric studies.
So you guys are going down there, how soon?
We'll go down on the 18th of August, a few days ahead, but then we have it each day scheduled. Before we launch any of our little sensors for the atmosphere, we're always checking on the ground that they're calibrated properly. So we have some surface stations we set up, and we continuously monitor our surface data. We'll go about 28 hours through the eclipse, before and through. And the students all know how to run that. They have to monitor that the data is coming in the proper format. Mm-hmm. And then...
how do you find where you're going to have your base camp? Is it just like somebody's land, or is it...
we had an alumni from Montana State actually offered to let us camp on their property.
Cool.
So that's where we found that, in the center.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 sites on the edge that we've gotten permission from landowners, and we're going to go out there and launch. So we'll have actually balloons spatially distributed, so we get some high spatial and temporal resolution of the atmosphere during the eclipse. So we set up our ground equipment. Students are going to, we call it initialize, so they're just making sure that the computer in the ground station, it's a radio, is receiving all the data from the sonde itself. It's called a radio sonde. Then once we know that's happening, we fill the balloon, attach parachute, attach the payload, and then have a countdown to launch. One more check to make sure everything's coming in well. They launch, come back, monitor the data. And there's certain triggers that we have that we know if we go through a cloud and for some reason one of our sensors ices up, we can terminate our launch and try again.
When you say terminate your launch, you mean just like cut the payload and it falls? Or?
For these, we just cut the frequency off.
Okay.
And then it goes on, and then
somewhere.
We get another one going. Okay. And we're counting on it, so we fill the balloons with helium.
Yeah.
So we're counting on the fact that the pressure change
between
the outside and the inside, it explodes. That's how it comes back to us.
Oh,
under parachute.
It explodes?
Yeah.
I mean, intentionally, or it just happens?
It just happens. But to some extent, it is intentional. I mean, we plan, like, okay, we're going to put this much helium in and burst.
But you don't have like a button you push that's like, boop. So the needle on the end
we could also do that.
Oh, you have one of those?
We have cut-down systems.
Okay.
In case we want to terminate early.
Oh, so it just drops off the balloon?
Yes.
Doesn't pop it?
No, you could. I mean,
well,
now you've just given all the students a good idea.
See it. Like it's.
We have cameras.
Okay, people are up there to see it.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's the goal.
So wait, can I actually go on a balloon launch?
You could.
How does this work?
There's a couple different types that we have. So we have a basic weather balloon launch, and it's the same system that the Weather Service launches every day.
So the Weather Service launches a balloon every day?
They do, at 92 sites around the country.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
92 sites, a balloon goes up every day?
Twice a day. Well, just in the U.S.
Wow.
Why
don't we use hydrogen? Like there's infinite hydrogen. Okay.
I know some sites use helium, but most of the Weather Service uses hydrogen.
Good.
For us, it's a safety issue because we have students.
Okay. You don't want
we don't. And we
don't want to blow them up.
Yeah. We move. We have mobile stations. So the Weather Service, they're in place. They have strict safety protocols. It'd be a little bit more challenging.
I was a little worried. I mean, there's not like an infinite amount of helium in it.
There is not. We've talked a lot about integrating hydrogen and how to do that safely.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. You're talking about, and there's more than 92 weather balloons going up every day.
Yes, all around the world. I mean, the stations, it's in the thousands.
Okay.
They launch twice a day at the same time every day. So it's Zulu time, 0Z and 12Z around the world. So for Missoula, that's about 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Well, that's convenient.
Yes.
So at least it's during the times when people are awake.
Yes.
And it's the same payload goes up every time, but the balloon has to get switched out?
The payload is not recovered.
Oh, okay.
And you'll hear ranchers talk about it in Montana. Well, they'll say, oh, I found a Weather Service balloon. and it's still a sensor. And then they can send it back, and they'll recondition it and reuse it.
Okay. But mostly it just drops, and you've got the data being beamed back, and it's just like this thing falls onto a cow, and that's fine?
Yes, exactly. It's only 90 grams.
But it's got a parachute.
It has a parachute.
So it's not going to kill anybody.
Right.
I was like, I mean, like a 90-gram thing falling out of the sky could hurt.
It could.
But with a parachute, it does not.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't recover the payload?
Typically, no. And that's something that's actually super interesting, because we've talked about ways, how could we not litter the Earth with a bunch of sensors?
Well, I mean, I'm not super worried about the littering so much as like, if you got a parachute, like theoretically, this thing is going to work again.
Yes, it could.
But it's landing, but you can't control where it's going to land.
No, we can guess a little bit. More than a guess. We run weather models.
Does it have a little GPS thing on it?
It does.
Well, then you don't have to guess.
We track as best we can.
Yeah.
But we also can run weather models and trajectories of where we think it's going to land.
But, America's a big place. There's a lot of land, and you can't drive to all of it.
Well, that's okay, too. We can hike. But it's a cost.
You guys,
benefit.
you don't look necessarily like you're frustrated by the idea of a good hike.
I'm not. Well, we also launched these large balloons, so that's the other thing. We have these, and they're big. They're 2,000-gram balloons or 3,000-gram balloons. On the surface,
is that the whole thing, or is that the payload?
That's the weight of the balloon.
Okay.
That's not even the payload.
Oh, okay.
We can launch up to 12 pounds legally in the U.S. with some caveats to that for the time being. And they're about 10 feet in diameter on the ground when we fill them.
Okay.
And those we do chase and recover because they tend to have more expensive equipment on them.
Okay. But the balloon itself pops every time?
Pops every time.
Okay.
But it's usually still attached unless we cut it away. So we bring that back to show people.
So why is this a good time to do atmospheric studies?
During the eclipse itself, the change in energy between when we have light and darkness is 3 times faster than what we get between night and day.
Right.
Because the sun sets a little bit slower.
And
there's some really interesting atmospheric phenomena that we might see, like change in winds. How much of a temperature change will we get? There's these buoyancy waves. So when the winds change and then we start to get the sun uncovered again, it's like ripples on water in the atmosphere, and we're going to see if we can pick some of those up. And the animals. I've heard that the animals are going to just, they don't know what to do.
They just, what? No, it's daytime.
That happened really fast.
That's freaking me out. Yeah. And so what else are you doing to study this eclipse? So you've been thinking about it for years.
Yes. One of the big pieces of this project are balloons that are streaming live video.
Oh, okay.
And no one's done that yet.
How many of them?
There are about 50.
Oh, wow.
And they're the big ones.
Yeah.
And they'll be streamed live to the NASA website.
Cool.
Yes.
So like watching the shadow happen.
And that's a big engineering feat, actually, to get that done. And students are doing it. They're building the payloads. They design the software.
Are you trying to be able to stream the whole thing across America?
Yes.
Is it
from Oregon to South Carolina?
Nice.
Even I hear that maybe the Coast Guard might have a balloon team on a boat in both Oregon and South Carolina.
So get it as it goes off. Nice.
Yes.
This is a pretty great one. Like it goes across the whole country.
It does.
And it's during the day. It's like pretty perfect.
It is.
And that does not happen that often. If I'm not able to get into the path of totality, I'm going to regret it for a long time.
Yes.
But I have a baby, and I don't know how he's going to think about get in the car now. Let's drive. Idaho.
There's another one coming.
Oh, okay.
In 2024.
That's going to do a similar path?
It's going to go from south to north.
Okay.
Through the U.S.
But it's going to do this right across the U.S. thing again? Okay.
So,
it's not going to hit Missoula, though?
No.
Because just tell me if there's one that I don't have to leave my house for.
We can look it up.
Yeah.
And we'll see if you'll be alive.
It's good. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. If you'll do that, we can put the information in the description. Cool. Is there anything else you're super excited about going on with the study?
Yeah, actually, part of this is just watching students. We're going to also have some K through 12 students involved. And I think it energizes all of us as scientists to see the awe and the wonder that come from everyone around us. Because again, I think sometimes we get so into what we're doing that we forget about why we're doing this, or some of the, fundamentally, we just need to step back and go, oh, this is so cool. I almost some days can't believe I get to do this for a job.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping someone doesn't say anything like,
yeah.
do you know what they're letting them do? They play with balloons. You're paying them to play with balloons. I think this will really push some of the students forward too. The ones we're working with directly, I can see them just growing by leaps and bounds with everything they're learning.
Right.
And that makes me really dedicated to doing this.
Yeah, I mean, when I was first sort of empowered when I was an undergrad to like, when a professor said to me like, so what should we do next? And I was like, I don't know. You tell me what to do. That's how teaching works, right? Tell me what to do. And he was like, nope, come back tomorrow. Tell me what we're doing. Tell me what the research is next.
What?
So that was, it's that moment when you realize that science is a thing that people do and not something that just happens to people. And that you get to be one of those people.
What I really, really love about our programs too is that we don't have the answer. We don't always know. It's not lab class. So if a student comes up with an idea like, can we try attaching the payloads differently? Can we try this different method to make them equilibrate a little bit? I say, go for it.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't work. And maybe we lose something. That's okay. We learned. And let's just go get more pieces and rebuild it and we'll try again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying. It's that fundamental moment where you go, oh, you don't actually know the answer all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we do the best we can.
Yeah. All these procedures were made by people and they are being refined all the time.
Yes.
And and they didn't exist 10 years ago and everything we do is new.
Well, and even the same experiment. I mean, if we look back, I've been working with balloons for 13 years. And even in the beginning, the technology has changed tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm always game to try something new.
Yeah.
If the students find a new piece of technology, let's throw it on and see what happens.
Cool. And how long are you guys going to be out there? Just one night or?
No, we'll stay from the 18th to August 22nd.
Okay.
Prepping and getting measurements the whole time.
Nice. Awesome. I wish I could be there.
It's going to be fun.
But I don't think my son would be down for it.
2024.
Okay, on the 24th. He'll be ready then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice thought. All right, do you want to meet an animal of some kind?
Yes.
I don't know who's coming to see us. Hello. Oh, the magic of movie magic.
I have an animal here.
Hello there.
You've met Gaia before.
Yeah.
She is a southern three-banded armadillo. And I was just gonna say, you've been sitting with the animals this whole time, this whole talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been hiding down here.
Yep.
The exotic mealworm. Hello, you little guys. Do you want to die today?
Oh. They're blissfully unaware. They're all like going through a molt right now. They're getting bigger.
They're kind of hard. They look like they're extra hard looking.
Yeah, and there's some exoskeletons, coming off.
I know that we're not here to talk about mealworms, because these are going to be a beetle.
Yes.
Would if they were not about to be eaten.
Yes, and if they don't use them all up in time, they will go through metamorphosis and turn into this. Ooh, they look really cool. They're like this white alien-looking thing, and it's like partial head developed, and then like body, and
Of the
I don't know what it's called.
In its cocoon thing.
Alien version of mealworm beetles.
Yeah, those things are super. Like the time I saw the rhinoceros beetle version of that, I was like, I need to go and never come back. Like, I never want to see that again. It's like squirming.
Yes.
And it's very strong. And I'm just like, no.
Reminds me of like what I thought when I was reading Harry Potter and like Voldemort would be like under the chairs.
So like that, but smaller than a rhinoceros beetle.
Yeah, about that big. And then they turn into a black beetle after that, yeah.
See, I'm down with beetles, I'm down with mealworms, but that in-between phase when it's like space alien death time, I don't like that.
Yes.
But
hey,
maybe I'd get used to it.
Good,
Hey, Gaia.
good time for
letting
her
You know that I'm a
work
big
it
fan
out.
of armadillos, right?
I didn't, but that's cool.
I grew up in Florida, where we have them. And my first job out of college, I worked at a lab doing quality control for like a fungicide company, and there was a family of armadillos that lived like outside.
Yeah.
And whenever I was the only person who worked in the lab, so I was very boring. They were like my only friends.
That's really cute.
And
That's
I go
really
and hang
sweet.
out with them, and then I get stung by wasps, and Florida is just...
Yeah, wasps weren't your friend. But so did they have 4 babies? Was there little quadruplets?
There were not. I assume that something bad happened to 2 of them.
Okay, so there's only 2 of them. Yeah. So 9-banded armadillos are in Florida, and they always have quadruplets. This is a 3-banded armadillo. They're from South Central South America, in dry regions down there.
So
And,
did we say South Central South America? So the southern central part of South America?
Yeah, so
Or-
South America's like
Yeah.
like a really strong, really elongated heart, and it's going to be like
Okay.
centrally, but like little not
Down.
central. It's going to be a little bit south there. Yeah, and they live in they don't care about human boundaries. They live
Sure,
in
right.
a bunch of different areas, and they are they're near threatened actually. Due to habitat loss, a lot of their natural habitat is being converted to farmland. So these guys are struggling a little bit, and they're super easy to hunt because she could not be hungry. She's well fed.
Well, look at you go.
Look at that locomotion. I love how
Yeah.
they walk.
On their like fingernails?
Yes,
Like
yes.
a horse?
So their back feet are like on their feet, and then their front feet is like up on their front nail, and then they have a secondary nail right behind that. Isn't that cool?
Is she Is that a nose sniffing kind of?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So and these guys are smart. Some, I shouldn't say some. These guys are able to understand edges,
Yeah, I'm not
and
going
they
to walk
will
off the
fall
edge.
off the edge. Some animals don't.
Yeah.
But she does understand edges, so I'm not super
Super worried.
concerned as long as she doesn't slip.
Does she swim? Because somebody told me
Ooh,
once
good
that
question.
armadillos don't swim.
So these guys, I always ask them, they don't look like a good
No.
swimmer. They look like they would just sink because they're pretty heavy. So they can actually swim they could cross a river in two different ways. First way would be what you would think, taking a big deep breath and then have a bunch of air inside and kind of create an air bubble, and then they'll just wait out there and kind of float on the top, and then they'll just, doggy paddle or armadillo paddle, especially. What you doing?
I don't know. I'm thinking about jumping.
So what do you, no jumping. What do you think the other way of crossing a river would be?
My guess would be walking across the bottom.
Yes, yeah. So the other way, they'll exhale, get all the air out, and so they won't be buoyant at all, and they'll just walk along the way. They can hold their breath for 6 minutes, which is
Even after
significant.
exhaling all the air in their lungs.
Yes, exactly, yeah. You can run around, you can dig in the couch if you want, just don't make holes.
It's okay. I hate this couch so
much.
much. If you could destroy this couch, that would be great,
We can get a
Gaia.
new
We
one.
move up.
Yeah.
So you
Where are you going?
She wants to just run around. She is very active. She has a really fun personality because she is so active, and she's not scared of us, of humans.
Yeah.
So right now she's like, let me down. I want to run around.
Weird beetle animal.
She's like a roly-poly. She has this really cool.
Enrolling.
Yeah, so let's talk about the armor. It's pretty cool. So she has a backbone under there and ribs like we do, but then in the dermal layer of skin, she grows these bony structures, osteoderms, and they create these bands of bony structure,
and
then
scales on the back.
yeah, so then it's covered by scutes, which these scutes
okay.
are scales made of keratin, same stuff that makes her fingernails, and then it's connected by skin so that they have some mobility. They can move a little bit here and
so
there.
there is here on in betweeny.
You can feel it, yeah.
Those are still. That's still not soft.
It's tough skin, yeah. It feels like almost like callousy skin.
Do they shed?
I'm not going to put you in
the.
these scutes? No, they don't. It's more like a tortoise shell. It grows. Some of it might get worn off, but it'll continue to grow. Replace if she needs to. Are you super adventurous today? Look at you go. I always love her.
I'm gonna dig your arm.
I love the back of her neck because it's so not like
Yeah.
pretty.
I'm worried about putting my finger in there because I'm just gonna
She might.
pull her head back and pinch my finger.
Exactly, and so if a predator comes along, she'll roll up into a ball, and this armor works really well. It fits right in there.
You're the best of all ball animals. And the ears, they come out and they flap
I know,
in.
Isn't that cool? So their other defense is, they can roll completely into a ball, and even like a dog's teeth can't get in there. But sometimes they'll leave a little crack right there. And if you stuck your finger in there, they would slam it shut. And then she would take her little claws and dig it. So you're stuck in there being scratched up.
I'm not gonna stick my finger in
Don't
there.
stick your finger in there. You can run around. There you go. So they're pretty cool. A lot of people think that they look like prehistoric. You want to go in there?
Yeah.
Prehistoric animals.
So they're
and
burrowers, right?
They're not fossorial, so that's burrowing
Living.
animals. They don't create their own burrow, but they will steal a giant anteater's burrow if they come across. If they're lucky and they come across it. Otherwise, they'll just roll up like under a bush or something like that. Okay. Yeah.
So those nails are just for digging up food?
Yes, food. They love termites and all kinds of insects. They're omnivores, so they'll eat like berries and some leaves and stuff like that if they come across it, and other little, maybe a little mammal or a lizard or something like that if they can like catch it. But these guys do not have any front teeth. They're kind of closely related, but distantly. Their closest relatives are tree sloths and anteaters. They're in this superorder Xenothara, and it means strange joints. And so it's so that's what sloths and anteaters have. They have these really interesting joints in their backbone. They have more movement, but then also like fused pelvis area here. And they also don't have any front teeth. And they have like really rudimentary molars. So these guys eat very similarly to anteaters, where they will dig into a termite mound, then they will stick their nose in and then lick them up with their tongue. Right. They have a pretty significantly long tongue for their size, like 3 inches. Then they'll chew them with their back molars, and that's pretty much how they eat. So,
do you got any termites in there?
Yeah. Her favorite thing to do is go smell like little cracks where all the weird stuff has gone, a bunch of different smells. So she'll just go in there and just snuffle, snuffle, snuffle.
Why is Gaia so not afraid of you?
We got her when she was around a year-ish. We don't really know how old she was, and we've been handling her a lot. I know. So what she's doing right now, we can talk about what she's doing right now. She's like trying to get off her back to run around. So like if a predator came along and she rolled up into a ball and then rolled her around and she ended up on her back, she would never get stuck on her back like a turtle or a tortoise would, because she has that flexible skin. And so right now when I'm holding her like this, she thinks she's on her back, and she's like,
yeah.
get off. When I have other people hold her and present her in presentations, she pretty much stays rolled up into a ball the whole time. And she has a really excellent sense of smell. And so she's known me since she's been about a year old. And so she's much more comfortable with me, to the point where she's like a little snarky with me.
Yeah, like, Mom.
I know, she's like, let me go. I know I can run around. You'll let me normally.
So it's not all humans.
It's not. I mean, you can try and hold her. I bet she's like jazzed up enough that she'll stay with you.
There. Oh, you're cute. You smell weird.
Doesn't she? What do you think she smells like?
I mean, skin, like old skin, like toes.
Sounds awful. Old toe skin.
Old toe skin?
Okay, some people have said feet. Here.
Yeah.
Jen, how about you try? What do you think she smells like?
Yeah. I'm gonna go feet.
Feet?
Yeah.
I think a good.
It's not like just feet.
Yeah, it's a little.
It's like
Smell her head.
It's kind of sweet, but like it's not pleasant.
It's almost like
It does seem enjoyable.
It's not really. I'm gonna go. It's not one of my favorite. It kind of smells like rabbit food or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's kind of got a little like
alfalfa
grassy
or
must.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she smells like browned butter on cooked corn.
Sure, I can get browned butter. Browned butter on stinky feet.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think so. Some people can't smell her.
The closer I
really?
get, the more there's sort of like a grassy.
Okay, like almost like
smell.
nutty, like yeah.
But like from farther away, it's just the more
And if the closer you get to this end, it's more like ammonia-y.
Yeah.
But up here, it's more like the oil on her skin, and it smells more like a deeper, mustier smell. Yeah. Some people say like some dog food or pee.
Got a little dog food smell.
Feet. Yeah. But some people can't even smell her, so I think it's
weird.
I like asking people what they think she smells like, because it's cool. Yeah.
That'd be good. You should do a presentation where everybody writes down what they think.
Yeah.
And then we can compare.
And compare and see.
Because as soon as you said like brown butter, I was like, oh yeah.
And as soon as you said feet, she's like, feet. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like that.
I love Armadillo so much. She's very
here,
cute.
there's one.
You're very cute. I liked looking at you like this. Oh, you closed your eyes.
So, you were asking earlier if that was her nose moving around, and her nose is constantly like doing this little like snuffly thing, but her mouth, it's really cool. Her mouth goes like all the way back to her eyes. So when she eats something, she looks like a little like Pac-Man.
Oh yeah, so it gets real big.
Yeah. So she's like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know you.
There she goes. And just don't stick your fingers underneath her.
Okay, because she will snap clothes on them.
She'll grab you with her claw and like try and pull you in and then close.
Right. She does not want me to play with her belly.
No, that belly's super sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, one of my friends that works at the zoo just trained their armadillo for. Yeah, careful, she's gonna close on your leg. They just trained their armadillo for a voluntary ultrasound, which is totally like presenting their belly, which I think is really cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Train to. Where are you going? Like, I want to go this way.
She wants to run.
Yeah.
She's like super
Please put me on the
excited to
ground so
run.
I can run around.
What's the size of their habitat in nature? How much?
Like
ground do they
their
cover in a day?
territory.
Yeah.
They can smell termites 3 miles away, so they could travel that in a day, in a night, I should say, because they're nocturnal. They have terrible sense of sight, so they rely on their sense of smell, and they're pretty good hearers too.
So just smell that termite mound and run.
Run. Yeah, they
you
can
got
go
my
pretty
pants.
fast. I've put her in, we take her outside and she runs around, but I've also had her in a gym before, and she just gets, when there's no terrain to climb over, she just gets booking, and
Yeah.
I have to run to keep up with her. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're fast. I'm sorry. I feel like this is mean.
Let me off my back. I know. She's like, yeah, but I just want to run and play.
Yep. That's what she was doing to me.
Yeah, I like their head plate too. So she
I know, it's
is
such a good-
a right-tailed armadillo because her tail goes to the right of her head. But there are armadillos that are left-tailed, but she doesn't go
Wouldn't
that
ever
way.
do it.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
not.
just doesn't-
It doesn't do it.
Weird. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Boing. Yeah. So when I first got to know armadillos, I was surprised. I'm like, is that a female?
Right, no, it does look like a little penis in there.
Yeah, but it's not. Nope.
Something else.
Yep, it is. Yeah, males are it's very obvious. They have actually one of the longest compared to body size of all mammals. Yeah, it's huge. So it's really obvious. So she's definitely a little girl, and she is about 4 years old. This is as big as they get. And when they do give birth, they give birth to one baby. So 9 banded armadillos have quadruplets every time. And then these guys have one little baby. It's about that big and looks just like a miniature version of her.
It's getting more and more likely as I think about it that we're going to do an episode on the largest penises in the animal kingdom. Thanks, though.
Largest or longest?
I don't know. You want to do it by mass
do
or by
both.
volume or by length,
know.
girth?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could do it any number of ways. I have heard that barnacles have the longest because their penis like comes out of the shell and is because they don't move.
Yeah.
So instead,
They have to like.
So instead of being
Hello.
like, come here,
Tap,
let's
tap,
have they're like knock knock neighbor, hello neighbors. Like what?
I mean, I always
what new
really,
tidbit do you
really
have for
make
us
sure
this
that I
week?
study up on that before talk shows because we always go that direction.
Well, I mean, it's the only reason any of us exist, including
True.
you, Gaia.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Some
Hi.
armadillos had to have sex, or you wouldn't be here right now.
You were the only child at that time. Meh.
Who
I
knows?
have no idea. No idea. Never met her parents. I don't know.
All right, Gaia, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about what Jessi's up to, Jessi's got a YouTube channel at youtube.com/AnimalWondersMontana, where you showcase all of the cool stuff that you do at Animal Wonders.
Yeah.
And also, if you live in Montana, she can come and do presentations for stuff.
Yeah, we can come right to you.
Jen, thank you. Fascinating to hear about what's going on in near space. What did you call it?
Yeah, near space.
That's okay. I was right. And really excited about the Eclipse, which is coming up very soon. Yeah, we're all very excited about it here in SciShow. I hope I get out there, and I hope you do too. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you want more of this, we're at youtube.com/SciShow.